Brought to you by, paying homage to the Mecca of tobacco, Pinar del Rio, Cuba, Abe Flores opened his PDR cigar factory in the Dominican Republic over 10 years ago. Abe is one of the hottest boutique cigar makers in the industry today, earning the number 10 spot on Cigar Aficionado's Top 25 Cigars of 2014 with the Abe Flores 1975 Serie Privada. Abe and his team use Cuban blending traditions in a modern boutique Dominican factory. Smoke PDR cigars and cut, light, and taste what they love to do. M. Bombay cigars represent the most admired cigar culture of Cuba. They select the best of the best quality tobacco to use in the aging process. M. Bombay cigars are then rolled in Costa Rica by some of the most experienced cigar rollers, giving it a unique smoking experience. The band portrays the detailed and artistic nature of our small industry. Try the M. Bombay Casera, M. Bombay Mora, and the recently released M. Bombay Habana. M. Bombay cigars, where the cigar is a way of life. I love that I get to smoke cigars and call it work.
Hey, Paul.
What's going on, cigar newbie?
I'm halfway through this cigar you gave me, and I was wondering if I could put it out and save it for later.
No.
Well, I wanted to try the Liga Privada with the Connecticut wrapper, and I was wondering where I could get some of those.
Yeah, so those don't exist.
Well, I also have some of the cigars you gave me from before, and I was wondering if I could store them in my refrigerator.
Only if you're going to eat them.
Don't be like Mark. Subscribe to Stogie Geeks Shorts with Paul and Will, a 10-minute show about all things cigar smoking. We provide tips and tricks on humidification, cigar storage, mini reviews on select cigars, accessories, and more. Stogie Geeks Shorts is one-stop shopping for learning about which cigars to smoke and the right way to cut, light, and store your favorite stogies. You can watch Stogie Geeks Shorts on our YouTube channel or subscribe using your favorite podcast app. For all the latest episodes, visit stogieshorts.tv.
Hey, Paul, this cigar is awesome, and I wanted to share it with you, and I was going to cut it in half.
Oh, boy. You need to watch Stogie Geeks Shorts. Duran Premium Cigars, one of the fastest growing boutique cigar companies, providing smokers a portal into the old Cuban tradition of perfect balance and the lost art of progressive flavor construction. Roberto Pelayo Duran began his career in tobacco over 2 decades ago in Havana, where his reputation grew within Cuban circles. The creation of Duran Premium Cigars has given Roberto the platform to introduce a series of cigars that offer the same quality, construction, and detail which he perfected while in Cuba. Brands include the ultra-premium Roberto P. Duran Premium Cigar Series, Bazan Cigars, Nea, and Baracoa. Duran Cigars uses a seed to humidor approach, as all tobacco is grown on their farms and rolled in their factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. Rollers have been carefully chosen to carry out Roberto's precise method to ensure progressive flavor in each cigar. Duran Cigars invites you to make their premium your standard. CAO has brought you iconic cigars over the years. Brasilia, Italia, La Traviata, done in a playful nature with a unique twist. Travel to the exciting world of CAO and back in just under an hour with any of the groundbreaking CAO World Blends. Test the boundaries of style with new age brands in the 95 rated Flathead. Honor the past with new classics like Pilon. Treat your palate to an array of flavors with Soulfire and Moon Trance. At CAO, the experiences are limitless. So what's your next move? Welcome to the interview portion of this evening's show. I'm, of course, your host, Paul Asadorian. On the lines via Skype is still Mr. Will Cooper. And we have our special guest with us, Mel Shah from Bombay Tobak. I still want to call you Mayhole, because I like that better.
Thank you.
What's going on, Mel?
Nothing much. How are you guys doing?
Doing fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm smoking a fantastic cigar, and I was glad that we're able to do this segment. This is my second one, actually, that I've had today, and I was glad it was really good because I had smoked 2 of them today for the segment. So you lived up to our expectations, Mel, and you wanted to showcase this new cigar release. It's like a really giant Lancero.
Well, that's the Lancero size that we normally make. 8.5, 9 inches long by 38. And like even the Mora Lancero that we have, it's of the same size. And when the time came and we had the longer leaves for the wrapper, so
Mm.
we were like, why not to stick with the same thing, and um, why to change it?
The draw, and this is the second one. The draw's been impeccable on both
Yeah.
of these. How do you get an 8.5-inch Lancero to be that impeccable on the draw every time? Well, hard work, of course, right?
Well, like we stress more. First of all, like I don't want to use the word drawback, but um, we have we do not have any draw testing machine at the factory,
Yep,
and
it's good.
the rollers that we have are pretty well experienced, 15, 20 years in the line. Um, and for the Lancero, we are using two or three rollers that we have,
Hmm.
the three pancheros, that we are, they are only focused with the ring gauges under 40 ring gauge cigars.
Oh, interesting.
Uh, so it's a, time in and time out, like they have never failed us. Like once in a while you'll have that dud, but um, uh, so far so good. Everything is, they're pretty spot on.
Well, and I'm sure it's about, excuse me, it's about leaf placement as well, and the types of leaves to get it to burn so well. I mean, that's independent of draw, but the burn is is awesome on both these that I've smoked so far too.
The burn is, like also that, like the cigar has been sitting at the factory. I would say in the humidor, probably this one is probably a year and a half, 2 years old
Yeah.
after we roll it. So like the humidity throughout the cigar is pretty well consistent. Like it's not that one leaf is wet, one leaf is not,
Yeah.
um, to get that uneven burn or something like that. So like it has got itself a good age even after we roll the cigar.
I think
Do you have to, sorry, Will, I was just going to ask a question that Will and I were talking about. Do you have to, the longer or larger ring gauge cigars, do you have to let them rest longer due to the humidity to let the humidity come out of all the tobacco to the appropriate amount?
Well, it is, like when you have to add moisture or water when you're rolling the cigars, and to have them roll properly or bunch it properly without crackling or cracking the leaves. So you have to add the moisture, and to have that moisture evaporate, you have to let it sit. And depending on factories to factories, like some people like to, it's ready within 3 weeks, and like sometimes it is, we normally take at least 2.5 to 3 months for
Hmm.
them to just let that moisture evaporate. Also depends on the time when the cigar is rolled. Like if it's monsoon, it'll take a bit longer time. If it's summer or if it's slightly drier weather, it'll take lesser time. But like the longer it is, the better it is for the cigar.
I gotcha. Yeah, so it's more weather and environmental conditions that
Of
play
course.
into that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, sorry, you had a question earlier.
yeah, no, I don't know if we actually said what we're smoking. So,
Oh yeah, we
uh,
kind of just jumped into it.
we kind of just jumped right into it. But so we are smoking. This is the newest one of the newer releases that made its debut at the trade show. We're smoking the M Bombay 19 Vintage Reserve 1973 Lancero. So Mel, this is the latest installment in your Vintage Reserve series, correct?
Yes, for the 2016, this was um, an addition to the vintage reserve line that we decided that we'll do one every year, and so this was the third installment.
Yep, yep. And last year, of course, was the Nika, which we
That
loved
was,
as well.
yeah.
Yep. So why 1973?
I'm not ashamed to say it's my birth year.
Ah, there you go. So
It was well, the tobacco that we are using as filler in this cigar are pretty old, and you know, I had to give it a name, and like it was so gung ho before the August 8th
Mm.
FDA thing, so it was not too much thought of that what should be the name, and how should we put it out. So why not 73?
What
there
it,
you go.
Mel, what do these come in for a box count?
These come in a box of 25, and we made actually 500 boxes,
Okay.
535 boxes. Um, and, they are being in the market since, I would say, last month. Pretty well received over everywhere. Um,
So
it was
this
like
I'm sorry, was this available to all of your retailers or just to?
all of the retailers did not take a partake in the Lancero size, but whoever did bought everything out.
So are there some of these at like Churchill's and Seekonk?
No, no, they do not. They, like it's a Lancero is a size.
Yeah.
It's more of few retailers are there that support the size or they sell it well. Some retailers don't. They're just dreadful about it. It's like
Mm.
we don't have customers and we don't want to. I would not use the word they don't want to educate the customers. It's of course like if they have demand of that kind of a ring gauge or profile, like they would definitely bring it in. And we rather want it to be in the hands of people who understand the flavor profiles or the nuances or the construction of the cigar. So it was better that the people who sell Lanceros are given first priority.
So what's the price point on this, Mel?
It goes to 1375,
Mm.
1375 a stick.
I'm asking because I want to buy a box. I'm trying to figure out where I can do that and what it's going to cost me.
No, there are quite a few like you being in the market that like who sells Lanceros, they definitely have them.
Mm.
Um, the it was you smoked the second one today, and it is quite obvious that the refinement of the flavor of the tobacco, it's spot on. There is nothing more that you can do to these tobacco or nothing less that you should have done.
Yeah, I mean it smokes so great now. It'd be interesting to see what it get with age. Although given the strength, like this is a box that I would buy and smoke most of them, like one every morning for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily let these. I mean, these are really ready to smoke. I mean, there's a ton of flavor you get from these, and what I love, a lot of times, what drives my box purchase is not just flavor. I mean, that's probably the first thing. So that has to be there. And I've already expressed that I want to buy a box of these, so you kind of see where I'm going. The second thing is smoking experience. And for me, this is like just an awesome smoking experience. Like the amount of smoke, the draw, the size, that whole thing is great. The exposed foot I thought was fantastic. I think that's great. Because it lights up so easily, and the room aroma is great. So you get all that nice, wonderful smoke, and then you get kind of a little transition when you go into the wrapper. Look at me, I'm selling this cigar for you, Mel. You can send me a commission check right here. 24 Quaker Lane.
Do you want me to plug someone who's got it?
Yes, please do, Will.
Serious Cigars. In
Okay.
Houston.
Okay.
Yep, and you can get it online. So
Okay.
yeah, I did a quick look because I know they carry Mel's stuff, so that was the first place I looked.
Yeah, they
And I know
have it. Yeah, Ron has been a wonderful supporter for M Bombay, and we really appreciate that. Um, Thank you, Ron.
Yep.
No,
It wa-
and again, and Will, I want to get your take on this too, but this is just my take, and there's a lot of cigars that I smoke in this strength profile, that I search for this type of flavor in this smoking experience, and there's not many that live up to this expectation in terms of. So, and of course, I mean, Mel's a sponsor and all, but this is my honest opinion about this cigar. I don't think anyone is going to accuse me not giving my honest opinion about cigars on the show. And then, however, this is our fifth year doing the show. So, Will, I'm curious to see what you think about it.
Well, I'll just kind of start it off. Well, when I first had this at the show, and then we kind of decided we were gonna obviously do this segment when Mel sent the cigars, after the show, and right after that, of course, I told Paul don't smoke them. We had to get this scheduled, so we had to go through a while. Obviously it's been a while since the trade show, but the reason is because I kind of felt, Paul, I knew your profile with this one.
Yeah,
I-
you
I
had
do.
to have smoked this and gone, Paul's
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
love this.
yeah. And the incredible thing about this cigar is you definitely taste. I mean, there's an intangible about a vintage tobacco. All right, is all I could just say. You taste that vintage tobacco, but this is not a mild cigar where you're smoking air either. It's got enough body, it's got enough strength to keep me very interested in that. But there's something about well-aged tobacco that it's an intangible. Is all I could say. You know what I'm saying, Paul? Does that make
Yeah.
any sense?
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. It presents a certain kind of sweetness usually.
Yeah.
In that vintage tobacco. And
Yeah.
all of them are different, right? Like if you age the Opus tobacco, I find they can have very, very distinct cinnamon sweetness. This is more like a creamy, sugary sweetness in that family, which I find pairs really, really well with coffee.
And it's got that, obviously the staple of Mel's lines are the Peruvian tobacco and the fillet, and you get a little bit of that Peruvian tobacco when you draw on this thing, with what you just said. Yep.
Oh,
Well, it's in the filler we're using a Peru and Dominican Republic. Minus we don't use any ligero. So it was more about flavor than the strength. But like that flavor, the wrapper on it, the wrapper and the seco that we are using from the Peru, that definitely gives that enough oomph, that like you don't need a ligero to make it rounder or make it a bit stronger or anything like that. The tobacco as is has enough potency.
Yeah, I mean, I would put this as a medium, probably. I would probably put this as a solid medium cigar. Would you agree, Paul?
yeah, it's right there with and this is a really big compliment, Mel. It's right there with my EP Carrillo New Wave Connecticut Toro sizes.
No, that's a huge compliment
Yeah.
coming from Paul.
Yeah, this is like one of the cigars I smoke almost every morning.
Yeah.
So this is definitely in that realm. And very
Yeah,
similar. The flavors are different, which is what I like, but it's very similar in terms of strength. The body is different. This has a lot more creaminess.
There's a lot of creaminess
Yeah.
and a little bit of that sugary
Yeah,
kind of, but not like candy sugar, but that naturally sugar
I agree.
kind of.
Natural
Yeah.
sweet tobacco.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. And to give you an idea, when I had this at the show, it was probably the only cigar I had at the show where I basically Mel had to kick me out of the booth because I smoked. I said I'm not leaving. Right? I smoked the whole thing. Actually. So, but no, it really was good. And one thing is, as you get through, and you've already smoked one of these, Paul, so but sometimes with a Lancero that's, and I'm singing the praise of this because it's a very good cigar. Once sometimes you get 5.5 to 6 inches into a Lancero and it runs out of gas. You're gonna find this is not gonna be the case with this cigar.
It's not. It doesn't smoke like a typical Lancero either.
No,
it has
no.
a lot more smoke production.
Yeah.
Than typical Lancero, which I really like. I think that's some of my hesitation with a lot of Lancero-sized cigars is they just don't have the smoke production that I'm looking for. I like a lot of smoke. I mean, as I've said in the show in the past, right? I like a good amount of smoke production. Rarely do I say that there's too much, right? Like a lot of smoke is a good thing. Oh, that's great. So Mel, we talked a little bit about the blend. Did we go through the entire blend?
It's an Ecuadorian Desperado wrapper. The binder is also Ecuador. The filler is Dominican and Peruvian.
Great job. I like it.
Yeah, the tobacco, the Dominican and Peruvian tobacco that we have, we had to tone down um, the the binder into seco. The reason was we didn't want to influence the flavor the flavor profile of the fillers, and that also was a kind of like a challenge, because the normal at the factory, we the normal tendency is we need to have a drier leaf, or not a drier leaf, but like more combustible leaf,
Yep.
or to be used for the binder. And like the more the 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 the, the, the thinner, or like the more how do you the there's a word for it. I'm sorry about that, but the thinner the tobacco leaf, it is better for the combustion. And the thinner it is, there is more chances of having more flavor to it. So like it was a kind of like a, either we have to sit on the cigar for a longer time for it to age better, or to blend better, or have the humidity down a bit better. So it was a challenge in itself to even decide on um, what kind of a binder that we are going to use. So it took a while, and once we had it nailed down, then it was a matter of uh, choosing what where where we want to, or would it be from Ecuador or Dominican Republic or Peru, or something like that, to be used for binder. It was more about the filler tobacco. The wrapper is the same wrapper that we use for Nika.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it had its own good. We were fortunate that like we bought enough for for future use, and this was one of them.
The cedar sleeve, Mel, is that
Yeah.
really just decoration, or does it contribute to the flavors and the aging process?
It definitely contribute. I would not use, yes, aesthetics definitely, yeah, but if you see the cedar leaf, that cedar is a Brazilian cedar. It's a Brazilian Spanish cedar, what they call. And we use that for all the boxes that like the cedar sleeves that we put in all the boxes. But the thickness of the cedar is not a regular cedar strip that you see on any cigar that like which is wrapped with cedar. It is slightly even thicker, if you notice that. And
I did.
like
I'll be honest. I didn't notice that until you pointed it out.
because like it's slightly thicker. It's not a regular. And I'm not trying to use the word Chateau Fuente, or in a bad way. But when you see a Chateau Fuente with a cedar sleeve, that cedar sleeve is quite thinner.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is quite thicker, and that we wanted to impart that that cedary, that Spanish, that cedar, sweeter cedar smell to the cigar. And that like it has been sitting like that for say good year and a half,
Mm-hmm.
with with the cigars in the cedar.
I can't pick up on the cedar notes though. Some cigar, and that's fine. That's
It's
not
subtle.
A,
It's very subtle.
Yeah.
It's a very subtle cedar I get on this.
But some cigars that come in cedar, like especially when you first start smoking them, like really all you can taste is cedar, which is a different experience. But I like the subtle, like I said, I can't pick it up if if it's there. Maybe on a fresher palate, I might be able to.
But
Smoked a
I
lot
think
of
it's
cigars yesterday.
I think it
So,
speaks. I think it speaks for the Desperado wrapper that we've seen on a lot of Mel cigars. It's a very flavorful wrapper, and I think it's
yes,
doing its job here.
yes.
And yeah, but I do I am getting a little bit of the cederness. There's no there is
Hmm.
it may be it may just be me. It even could be power suggestion sometimes,
Right,
but
right.
I think it's doing something here. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, in this the cedar, I guess I may have discussed with you guys on the show earlier. You know, so Spanish cedar, normal that you get it from Honduras or Nicaragua, it it it, it has its own characteristics, and it is for my smell and smell sensors, it is more sharper. The Brazilian cedar that we're using is um, more rounder, more it has a sweeter twang at the smell, and that and I'm not trying to say that why Paul is not getting is because we are using a Brazilian cedar, but it is not that sharpness of the cedar that you get
Yep.
in a regular Spanish cedar from Honduras or Nicaragua.
I would that I would agree. You get more of that. Cedar tends to be a cross of sweetness and spice for me a lot. This is gonna be a little
Right,
more
right.
amped on the sweet side. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like again, it's more of um, how we felt at that time. Like okay, let's use this and not like because we normally source our cedar for the boxes from Nicaragua and Honduras, and so we had to choose this guy. He's this. We had to import it from Mexico. That he specializes in importing Brazilian cedar. So that might be the call that it is not that potent cedary in the cigar.
So Mel, getting as far as when the project itself, was this a case where you were around the factory and you found a bale of this tobacco and you said, "Hey, what can I do with this?" Was that how this planned,
No,
or was it or was it
no.
the other way around where you had a blend and you said, "Let me see what I can do to add something to the blend"?
Well, that like the Desflorado wrapper, like uh, with the success of Nika or the Quesara blends, we know that the wrapper that we have has some great qualities and great flavors. The now the art is to kind of like come up with different tobaccos that complement that flavor. And so it is more about like we catch this flavor, and now let's go with how to make it different, and express its flavor profile in a different ways.
Yep.
So I would say I went back, not rather. Oh, I found like two bales of something laying 50 years ago, and like let's now make a cigar. No, it was not like that.
Oh, it's interesting because usually you hear that's how you hear it. It's usually that's the way it happens, but this was the opposite way, which I thought was interesting.
Well, I'm a straight shooter.
No, I'm saying this is a positive actually.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm not knocking people who do that, but that's usually the way you hear it. Hey, I found this spot. What can I do with it? But you kind of used it as kind of an ingredient to kind of enhance the recipe here, which I kind of like.
Yeah, that's like that's what we normally do do with our brand. It's more of expressing it's tobacco itself has flavors, and for a blender or for a cigar maker, it is better to not try to change the flavor of the tobacco. It is more rather to like how to enhance it and how to present it to the consumers who are going to enjoy it in a different ways, different flavor profiles,
Yep.
but um, not killing the whole by adding like more stronger tobaccos or which overpowers the flavor of the main ingredient. Here it's the wrapper and the liero that we always play with. So
Mhm.
the idea is how it's more enhancing the tobaccos that we have.
Yep.
Sweet. So what do you have? What's next?
Yeah,
What's that?
FDA.
FDA. FDA ruined my what's next question.
No, no. We we are introducing Gaia in the torpedo size with the Brazilian Mata Fina wrapper. Um, um, and also so it's the work in the progress, and we're hoping that it'll receive the same love and affection from everybody that we receive the regular guys.
And the torpedo is going to the Gaia Natural and the new Brazilian, correct?
Yeah, torpedo is coming in the natural wrapper as well as the Brazilian Matafina,
Okay.
and so is the torpedo.
Right.
Excellent. Will you have more questions for Mel?
Yeah. I mean, I mean, just back to Gaia for a second. That cigar had a lot of momentum. I mean, it's had a lot of momentum. Was the show everything you thought it was going to be when it came out there?
Yes, we had quite a bit of a response for Gaia, at the show. Thank you for the reviews that you guys did. Um, but like the the problem or the shortfall that we have is we have like three rollers that we utilize for the production of Gaia, which equates to probably 20% of our production. And yes, the cigar is beautiful, but it is a case where even if I want to sell 1,000 boxes, it is not possible. So we have to go slow. Like we age the cigar for a long time. Uh, um, Let it dry properly, let it see the age properly. So like it is a slow release. We are releasing it every quarter, and somewhere around like 700-800 boxes right now. And this can go forego with the production that we have. We did definitely amp up the production, but for at least one a year, I would rather use the word like every quarter we are hitting like 800 boxes number.
Still pretty healthy. It's still very good.
Well, yeah, but like not we're not coping the demand, honestly speaking.
Right.
Like we could definitely go more, but it's can't do it.
Now with the Brazilian Gaia,
Yeah.
the Matafina, are we getting the same like binder and filler with the as we get on the natural Gaia, but now the wrapper is being changed out for the Brazilian?
No. There is slight change. I would not use the word too much, but the proportion of the seco we had, because we again, like Brazilian Matafina,
Mm-hmm.
we find it more sweet and peppery. That's my flavor profile. That's
Right.
if I'm smoking Matafina, that is what I would say. And to portray that sweetness and the spiciness together, we had to compensate. I would rather use more of the seco of sorry, the Dominican Habano, that Dominican 2000 that we're using. We had to use that more and less of the Paraguay tobacco.
Okay,
So
that was my
we had
yep.
just a proportion into it.
Yeah, that was my next one. I was kind of curious if the Paraguayan tobacco was in that one as well.
No, it is there. It is there, but
Okay.
like the proportion is slightly lesser.
Okay, that's it. Yep, and that's expected, I guess, right? Because it's a different blend, and it's actually a different. Now it's a torpedo as well that you're getting in that.
Yeah, but torpedo did not make too much of a difference in the proportion, because like it is a 52 ring gauge, slightly skinnier than The Toro is 54, and it was just the length is same, so it was not too much of a hassle over there. But the Brazilian Matafina we had a lot of work that went into it, deciding which way to go.
Interesting. So you're hitting the road, from what I understand, right? You got some events coming up?
Yeah, next week I am in Washington D.C., in Pennsylvania, in New Jersey, and in New York.
Oh wow! So you're hitting the Northeast there.
Yeah, like they have been supporting the brand for a long time, and it was due for me to show my face.
Oh, that's
They
cool.
have been screaming for a long time. So
That's excellent. That's excellent. Um,
So, Mel, where do you coming up to the States to do events? Is that what Will was just asking about,
cut
or?
and
yeah.
light. I would say cut and light. Cut and light.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Cut and
I'd
light.
love to if you did an event here close to us. Hint, hint. I would love to. I would love to attend. That would be fun.
No, like I'm looking forward to that. One day we'll definitely do it. Right now we are, like again, like we are looking for, looking for retailers all over. But like we just don't want to take a blind, leap of faith kind of thing, and I would not use the word not open anybody, but like we rather hand the cigars in proper retailers' hands. Like that can support the price point, that can understand our philosophy. And so that it's a tough job, trust me.
Yep. I mean, how? I mean, in terms of FDA, is that is that keeping you busy right now? Just kind of getting ready whatever you need to do to comply right now.
See, after the show, we received 3 shipments, and so our factory does export cigars to Europe and also Spain actually, and Middle East. So the invoicing process or the blending, the disclosure of the blends and the tobacco that we use, we normally do that with the invoices that goes to Europe. And we have been following the same invoicing pattern when we receive the cigars in the United States. We have not been given any kind of flack yet. Yes, we had to add the Surgeon General like the warning labels, not on each and every cigar, but on the box. Which we started doing that, like more prominently, more showing it off. But that was the only change that we did, and was not even a problem as I know right now. It was it came in, and there was one more step of getting okayed by FDA, and that was it. And not, so far so good. So far so good. We're trying to, like whatever whatever we still there is the thing which is in gray area where we are not 100% sure what they exactly want. But with their verbiages and um, uh, their their documents that like what we are trying to understand, we are trying to follow them of how or what they want. And so far so good. Yeah, like there is no bad news from at least in Bombay.
How in terms of you're still, I should say, you're not really a new company,
Well,
but you're new.
I'm a
You're not new.
baby, right?
Yeah, but no, you're newer to a lot of folks.
Right.
How do you? Because I heard from a lot of small companies at the show this year, they got pushback from retailers saying, "Well, are you going to be around in 2 years?" How do you respond if you got any feedback like that?
Well, when it definitely happens, like when you walk into a retailer and a broker or even myself, when we express the thought of of pitching the our brand, it is sometimes the retailers that are willing to take chances and they understand the philosophy of the company and how we have evolved. They, there is lesser friction. But like there has been a couple of instances where they had to not carry our line because they did not know what are we going to do after August 8th, or after a couple of years. But the simple thing is, guys, you're not going to close the shop if FDA comes and goes gung ho on all the cigar brands.
Yeah.
So why take a step of, we won't carry this brand or that brand because they are new, or after 2007 or whatever it is. It's fine right now. Well, the concern is always there, but we're ready to work with it. It's no more like what we heard 3-4 months ago that they're going to charge $300,000 and $500,000 per line or something like that. It was all full of crap.
Yeah. That was
there was no rhyme or reason by any. It was. I thought they're trying to do a scare tactic thing, but time has proven it wrong. So.
Well, I think back to Will's question, and I have a startup in security technology, and the challenge for many startups or small businesses, right? They're just, not that you're just getting started, Mel, but if you're going to a retailer and they haven't heard of you before, like, to them, you're essentially a startup. And for the retailer and then also the consumer to take that leap of faith to purchase that product, it's very difficult to have that person be the first one, right? Like, I liken it to everyone's like lined up on the cliff and we're all getting ready to jump in the water. No one wants to be the first one, right?
Yeah.
So that can be difficult. Now, once you have customers, which you obviously do, it gets a little easier. But still, in the industry, shelf space is at a premium. And I mean, I personally know retailers that are just not taking in anything new at all. They're expanding some of their lines that do well in their shops and their brands that do well, but they're not taking anything new in. And I am concerned about that as an industry, because when the retailers aren't taking anything new, that means their clientele isn't trying anything new from them either. And I don't want to see it become stagnant, because I think there's a lot to be said for trying things new. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we have this show, right? So that Will and I smoke what's new, and if you trust our opinion, then you might try it too. So I think it's a difficult thing for any business to get some of those initial customers to gain that that faith in your product.
No, Paul. I totally understand where you're going from, but it is for your business too, or for any cigar brand. It is when we go to a retail shop where we are interested, right? The first aspect is us doing research on whether they can support our line or not, with the price point or the flavor profiles or the size profiles. Second thing is we offer them the cigar and the variations that we give. And it is the final call on the retailer, where if he understands, if he thinks that this is something unique and it can fill a gap of their customers are not having, actually. They're smoking Padrones, they're smoking Rocky, they're smoking Fuentes, they're smoking LFDs, Partagas, Macanudos, whatever it is. But if this cigar, if this M Bombay can fill that gap, is it that different or not? That is the retailer's call. And when the retailer comes to that point where they feel that, okay, by having this blend or this size or this line, we can fill that niche and he can offer that to the customer, he is the smart retailer that we would like to support. And he would support any new line which has that intention.
Yeah. No, and I think that's a fantastic strategy. In fact, I've used that in other situations as well. Is you got to understand the retailer's goals, their clientele, what sells, what doesn't, and exactly what you said, try and fill that gap. And the best retailers are the ones that do exactly that really, really well.
Yeah. We are focusing on them only. And I'm not saying that we all the none of the retailers do that, or only few, but it is when the retailer takes the initiative to offer new things to their customers, that's where M Bombay wins. And that is where we have noticed ourselves exceeding their expectations also. Tell the customers about the cigar, what they're going to experience, what kind of tobacco, what kind of process that we do. And it's a simple thing, like it's easy for them to try. It's not a $25 cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't have to dig into their savings account to buy a cigar. It's a regular price point. And these are the small hurdles for at least the newer cigar brands, or for at least me, that like it is to find those retailers, and once you have them, they'll carry your brand. That's very simple.
And
Yeah.
they'll carry your brand for longer too,
Right.
because I see the exact same where retailer will bring in a brand, it'll get really hot for a while, and then all of a sudden you're seeing it on closeout. Now, I mean, the retailer still made out, but the poor brand manufacturer like yourself, like that's not the kind of business you want to be in, right? You want longevity from your customers. You want loyal customers both on the retail and consumer side. So yeah, no, you're doing it right, Mel.
It's a two-way street. Like we support the retailers the same way the retailers support the brand. That goes for any brand that you talk about in the market, and it's like all different brands have different flavor profiles, different philosophy of their doing business and things like that. So it's that hitting the right person at right time. And it takes a while. Like we have not lost patience in that. So it's happening.
I think, yeah, and I think, Mel, the approach, and I've seen you take this approach. I'll put Steve Saka's been doing it. Jose Blanco's been doing it. You're educating the customer. Now, I've seen other companies, they're flooding the market with SKUs right now, and I've been critical of that because it's going to create an excess supply, and I don't know if the demand's necessarily going up. So I think the people who are doing the educating right now of the customers, as you are, Steve, Jose, I think you got a huge advantage. And I think I think what you did with Gaia, I think it had a lot to. I'm not saying it was us. I know we had it on the show and we smoked it, but I think it had to do with you in general, just taking the approach, educating people about Gaia, where it's a big advantage, and that's what's going to help you land those retailers.
Yeah, and the retailers understand that.
Yeah, the good ones. Yeah, the good ones. Well, yeah, the good ones. Well, yeah.
They all understand that. Like it is special in like the process is different, the flavors are different. Like it is unique by itself, and that is what they want to offer to their customers. And that's a win-win situation for a brand owner, a small guy like me, a big guy like Steve. It's or even padrones, or even Fuentes. Like they yes, given that they have 50, 100 years on top of us, but like deep down bottom, it's they want the retailers to recommend the cigars to new smokers or the old smokers or the seasoned smokers, with their why is this different?
Yeah,
and that's the win. That's
exactly.
Win. Oh, it's a funny. It's an awesome thing. Funny and awesome.
Exactly.
Well, cool. Mel, thank you so much for appearing on the Stogie Geek Show.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, it's been wonderful having you. Congratulations on your latest Vintage Reserve. I love it. I think it's a great cigar.
It's a great cigar. I think it's another big winner. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Paul.
You.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for your support, and I encourage our listeners to go if
you need to try. This is, and I'm not a Lancero guy either.
Yeah.
You need to try this Lancero.
But listeners, I think people who've been listening to our show for a while know my kind of profile in terms of something that's a little more mild in my morning smoke profile, and I'm telling our listeners, like, this hits it spot on. So if you like that kind of cigar and those types of cigars that I've talked about, you're going to want to go find this one.
Yep.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Mel.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful
Thank you very much.
Have a great weekend.
And that does it for this segment of the Stogie Geek Show.
Welcome back to the Stogie Geeks Show. Will Cooper here in Studio C. And as folks know, we did pre-record that interview with Mel on Friday afternoon. A couple folks were asking about Phil Zengi. We had to reschedule Phil Zengi. So stay tuned. We'll have that reschedule coming up pretty soon. But one quick comment on that segment. Paul and I were really blown away with that 1973 vintage Lancero. So it was a very enjoyable smoke for us to both have. So definitely be on the lookout for that cigar because I think that's a real winner, so to speak, for a lot of folks. Next week on the Stogie Geek Show, we will have episode 202, and Carson Serino of Serino Cigar Company will be making his Stogie Geeks debut. New company. Actually, they got some nice traction at the trade show, so stay tuned for that. Of course, continue to follow all the news and reviews at www.cigar-coop.com. Of course, you could catch Stogie Geek Shorts at www.stogieshorts.tv. And, of course, Stogie Geeks News, the only cigar podcast dedicated to cigar news at www.stogienews.tv. That does it for this episode. Again, look forward to seeing everyone next week on the Stogie Geek Show. Take care.